Get your popcorn ready as we talk about ball. Angry Cowboys Fan Podcast, and it's on. Get your popcorn ready as we talk about ball. Angry Cowboys Fan Podcast, and it's on. And it's on. And it's on.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation and Angry Cowboys fans around the world? Y'all know who it is. It's your man, the Angry Cowboys fan. And what's today? Today's Friday, and it's going to be the regular day where you have a chance to listen to the Angry Cowboys Fan Podcast, the place to find my Raw and Uncut in podcast form. And Cowboys Nation, do we have a great show for you? Yes, Cowboys Nation, we got a great show. But before I get into the show, I want to congratulate Voch Lombardi on reaching the milestone of 100K on his YouTube channel. You know, it's individuals such as Voch Lombardi that inspire individuals like me to pick up the phone, press record, and just make our goals a reality. If you've been following the Angry Cowboys Fan YouTube channel, one thing that you can say is that I try to give credit to all Dallas Cowboys content creators for contributing to the space, but there are content creators who blaze trails while leaving the trails wide open for content creators such as myself to follow. Absolutely zero gatekeeping while giving us the blueprint to how to do things here on YouTube. Content creators that are not afraid to give you the secrets to success when it comes to this space. Ones that will shout your name and your channel out just so it can give you a little bit of visibility in YouTube. Voch Lombardi is one of those guys. On top of that, Voch Lombardi is a Jedi when it comes to this content creation space. His wisdom, his knowledge for not just the Dallas Cowboys, but for football fundamentals as well. I know when I tune into Voch Lombardi, I'm going to come away with a greater understanding about football. So thank you to Voch Lombardi for all of your Voch raids. Thank you for sharing your knowledge of football as well as your content creation knowledge. Thank you for making it possible for individuals such as myself to make it in this space. And congratulations on hitting 100K. You damn sure deserve it, and it's actually long overdue. But now let's go ahead and get to this Dallas Cowboys Talk, Cowboys Nation. Today we're going to be talking about an article written by Randy Gurzy over at Dallas Cowboys on SI.com. It's talking about the massive haul that the Dallas Cowboys could get if they trade Micah Parsons. We're going to be talking about Stephen Jones and Trevon Diggs back and forth through the media. We'll be discussing the latest Brian Schottenheimer press conference and how he handled the fight that broke out at training camp. One thing that you can guarantee, though, Cowboys Nation, we're gonna be talking about our Dallas Cowboys. So if you with it, let's get it. This is the Angry Cowboys Fan Podcast, episode 15. All right, Cowboys Nation. Following the Dallas Cowboys on SI.com, I get notifications whenever Cowboy stories are available. One story that caught my attention was a story written by Randy Gurzy about Micah Parsons and the massive haul the Dallas Cowboys could get if we were to trade Micah Parsons. So I want to read y'all the article so we can discuss it, Cowboys Nation. So let's go ahead and hit that split screen so we can get into the article. All right, Cowboys Nation, we are over here on Dallas Cowboys on SI.com. We're going to read this article. The article is titled, Micah Parsons' projected trade price would be massive haul for Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys should sign Micah Parsons to an extension, but if they decide to pursue a trade, Jerry Jones's team would land an impressive haul. We're nearly in August, and the Dallas Cowboys have yet to come to terms with superstar pass rusher Micah Parsons. Dragging out negotiations has become an annual event, which also leads to plenty of trade speculation. While Dallas has been able to come to terms with their star players before the start of the regular season, there's always an outside chance they could decide against paying top market money. The players could also get fed up with the media games and decide they would rather go somewhere else. It's highly unlikely this round of negotiations ends with anything other than Parsons signing a mega deal that resets the market for pass rushers. Still, ESPN's Bill Barnwell discussed what a potential trade would bring for Dallas and begins with the Khalil Mack trade of 2018. I expect that to occur with the Cowboys before week 1, but if they did decide they couldn't justify paying 3 players market-setting deals at the league's 3 most expensive positions, he would attract a massive haul, Barnwell wrote. The closest comp is Khalil Mack, who in 2018 was traded before his 5th season with a 2nd-round pick for 2 first-round picks, a 3rd-rounder, and a 6th-rounder. Barnwell, who also said Parsons will likely stay in Dallas, would net more than Mack. He's younger than Mack was when traded and has more sacks over his first 4 seasons. That's why Barnwell says Parsons would cost another team 2 first-round picks and more. Again, the smart play is to pay Parsons and keep the leader of your defense around, even though it would be a historical haul. Damn it, Cowboys Nation. I truly hate seeing this about one of our best players on the damn team, the best player on the defensive side of the ball. It seems that when a premier player comes up for a contract extension, the media wants to shop said player around. They put it out there, having their words fester in the minds of Cowboys Nation. It piques our interest because of past trades that yielded a number of players which led the Dallas Cowboys to 3 Super Bowl championships. The Herschel Walker trade will go down in history as one of the greatest trades for the Dallas Cowboys and one of the worst trades for the Minnesota Vikings. According to NFL.com, let's go ahead and bring the article up on the screen. Depending on one's perspective, the Herschel Walker trade from the Cowboys to the Vikings in October of 1989 was either the best or the worst trade in NFL history. For Dallas, who shipped the Pro Bowl running back for 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks, among many other assets, it was a brilliant move that led to their 1990s dynasty. The trade grew to involve 18 players, and some of the Cowboys' new picks included the Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith, Pro Bowler Darren Woodson, and Pro Bowler Russell Maryland. With those players and many more, Dallas, which in 1989 had finished with a 1-15 record, saw its franchise return to greatness, winning 3 Super Bowls in the 90s, while the Vikings made none. Walker, meanwhile, after 1989, played 8 more NFL seasons, gaining over 1,000 yards in just 1. He finished his career in 1996 and 97 with, of all teams, the Dallas Cowboys. 3 first-round picks and 3 third-round picks, Cowboys Nation. Just imagine what this team would be able to do with those types of picks. The thing is, would it guarantee that the people that you would draft would be greater than the ones that you gave up? Now let's go ahead and go back to the office so we can dive a little bit more into this topic. Cowboys Nation, I don't know if I would back such a trade. The only way I would back such a trade is if Micah Parsons wanted to be traded to another team. But the vibe that I get is that Micah wants to stay a Dallas Cowboy and he wants to retire a Dallas Cowboy. As a fan of this team, I tend to get a little pissed off when they trade a great player because the Dallas Cowboys usually get a regular player in return. I would hate to see Micah Parsons traded to a different team only for the Cowboys to capitalize on one player from the draft. That means we lost in the transaction. So sit back and truly ask yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze in this situation? Because I don't think so, Cowboys Nation. Micah gives this team too much firepower on the defensive side of the ball to gamble with him. One thing that I wish that Cowboys fans would stop doing is believing these talking heads when they compare our players to different players, past or present. I remember the first 3 years of Micah Parsons' career. Talking heads had him compared to Lawrence Taylor, Cowboys Nation. How is he going to be the next Lawrence Taylor? When he didn't fulfill those high expectations that some fans of Cowboys Nation had for him, they complained. They were ready to ship him out. They were ready to trade him, and they're still ready to trade him. This isn't how you build continuity within the locker room, Cowboys Nation. Trading Micah Parsons isn't how you establish a dominant defense, Cowboys Nation. Trading Micah Parsons would only show me that the Jones family doesn't know how to conduct business under the current rules of the salary cap, and it's been that way for 30 years. It's been their Achilles heel for 30 years. Also, do you really believe in the Joneses to turn that type of trade around in a positive for our Dallas Cowboys? I don't, Cowboys Nation. We can't even rely on them to fill gaps when it's absolutely needed at the defensive tackle position. That's hurt us for decades, Cowboys Nation. Where's Jerry and Stephen Jones then? But I know, Cowboys Nation, this is the time of year where the content dries up. You can only talk about training camp so much until you start making hot takes in order to get clicks. But this isn't the way that the Cowboys should go about their contract negotiations with Micah Parsons. I feel that Jerry and Stephen Jones should go back to the negotiating table and figure out what Micah and his agent want so that they can meet somewhere in the middle. From my understanding, Micah wants to be a Dallas Cowboy until he retires, so I bet you that he'll be willing to sign a long-term contract in order to help this team when it comes to the salary cap, but he will be the highest paid non-quarterback of the NFL until the next defensive end comes along and resets the market. But what do you feel about this article, Cowboys Nation? Would it be a good idea to trade Micah Parsons, or do people need to just hang up that idea because it's not gonna happen? Y'all know how we do. We always talk about it in the comment section. All right, Cowboys Nation, the next topic that we're going to talk about is the feud between Trevon Diggs and Stephen Jones. But before we do that, if you're not subscribed to the Angry Cowboys Fan YouTube channel, I highly advise that you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you can be notified whenever I drop any content. But Cowboys Nation, we are fully aware of what's going on with Trevon Diggs. Brother hurt his knee, was out for the season in 2023. He came back for the 2024 season, but had some issues with his other knee, so he sat and was placed on the PUP list. During his first knee injury, there was this narrative that was floating around saying that Trevon Diggs didn't take his rehab seriously. So this year, Trevon Diggs went to Florida to get his rehab, and honestly, I don't blame the guy. If Cowboys Nation is aware of the Dallas Cowboys' grade when it comes to the training room, I'm pretty positive that the players are aware as well. Last year, the Dallas Cowboys training room was 26th in the league, and their training staff was 30th. You know, I wouldn't trust my rehabilitation in their hands either, Cowboys Nation, but with that not being at the start causes Diggs to miss out on $500,000 due to a stipulation in his contract stating that he has to be present 80% of the team's offseason programs. But it didn't stop there, Cowboys Nation. During the different interviews and press conferences, the Jones boys didn't hesitate in throwing Trevon Diggs under the bus on several different occasions. Jerry Jones did it during the press conference that opened up training camp, and Stephen Jones just did it more recently. So let's go ahead and take a listen to a few clips of what Stephen Jones had to say during the 105.3 The Fan interview, and then we're going to come back and unpack this raw and uncut. Y'all take a listen.
No, I hope not, because I think a player's much better off training with us than he is somewhere else. I just think the discipline to come in every day, do the work, is there when they're here. Now, obviously, with league rules, there's certain things that are mandatory and certain things that aren't. But one thing we can do, which we'll continue to do, is put in every player's contract, especially guys that we pay significant amounts of money. We expect leadership, and we expect them to be here. And certainly we address that with Diggs, that he certainly paid a price for not being here. But we're paying a price, too, because we felt like he might be further along had he done his rehab here. He may differ with that. Right. But had he done his rehab here, we feel strongly that he would be further along. And that's in the best interest of the team and the organization, and comes with getting a big contract, which he received.
He might be further along, Stephen Jones. I don't know. With a C and a D in your training facilities, I don't know if he would be further along. I don't know if he would have that confidence in his knee like he does now. But for some reason, I don't know what it is, Cowboys Nation, but I like listening to Stephen Jones a hell of a lot more than I like listening to Jerry Jones. I feel that Stephen is more straightforward. He's more straight to the point. He will tell you that we can't do something and why. He doesn't beat around the bush as much as Jerry Jones does. Not saying that his quick no's are better than a slow yes, but at least he's not blowing smoke up our asses every time he touches the mic, Cowboys Nation. But jumping into the second clip, Stephen Jones discusses the method of their contract expectations when it comes to Trevon Diggs. So let's take a listen to that so we can come back and talk about it. Let's roll that clip.
I think every player is different, Brian. I think obviously when we sit down and we talk about paying a player, giving him a big contract, this is discussed at length with the player and the agent. And so we do have expectations. And by the way, he's the only guy I know of that wasn't here doing their rehab because they feel like it's in their best interest.
Yeah, were you as surprised as we were that he was willing to just leave that money on the table? We were all just taken aback by that.
I mean, he was notified. He was told. He was. It wasn't a surprise. He knew when he missed the first day. You can imagine Coach Schottenheimer was, really wanting him. He said, "You don't want to lose this money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money you're talking about." And he made a conscious decision to do it, and we have to respect that. That's his. Certainly in the CBA that he can do that.
You're absolutely right, Stephen Jones. That is a lot of money to just fork over for your rehabilitation preferences. But he put it right out there on the table for anyone who had questions about the Trevon Diggs situation. He let everyone know that they prefer their players to do their rehabilitation in-house, and they contacted Diggs, letting him know that he would be missing out on his $500K incentive. Now, y'all know I would be doing my Raw and Uncut right here, but I can't have 2 clips of Stephen Jones explaining his position without having any clips of Trevon Diggs. Considering that this is a part of a podcast episode and not just a regular video, I'm going to include 2 more clips from Trevon Diggs' interview in Oxnard. So let's go ahead and take a listen to Trevon Diggs so we can come back and do that ultimate Raw and Uncut. Here go Trevon Diggs.
Like I said, they do a great job here. I just felt like it was in my best interest to go somewhere else and get the full undivided attention that I needed. Massages and everything, just the whole 9 yards to better my career, further my career, make sure I'm good, make sure I'm ahead of schedule and, I can perform well. Like my ACL, I came back a whole 2 months earlier because of the work I put in in the off season and off the field. So, my work is going to show. Whatever I put into it is going to show on the field.
Did you expect the dock and pay?
No, I didn't expect that. That kind of hurt my feelings. But it's okay. Hopefully, I'll make it back in incentives.
Damn, Cowboys Nation. I told y'all that they brought him back early. I bet everybody in Cowboys Nation knew that Jerry and Stephen Jones brought Trevon Diggs back earlier from his first injury. But he felt that it was in his best interest to go somewhere else and get the rehab that he needed. That was his choice. But what also was his choice was missing out on that $500K. But instead of being the victim, he quickly said hopefully that he can get that back in incentives. That's what's up, Cowboys Nation. Trevon Diggs is not being the victim in this situation. But let's go ahead and get into the second clip from Trevon Diggs.
And we got to understand where he's coming from. His brother just got cleared and he tore his ACL. Maybe came back 6 months, 3-4 months early.
Yeah.
Over at Alchemy, I went over there with him. They got some of the best recovery
Yeah, he came and checked on me. Came to check on me, made sure I was doing what I was supposed to do.
At the end of the day, this is his business. His body is his body equity. He got to feel like he got to do his best for his body. And because at the end of the day, if he's not available, what they going to do? Get rid of him. You know what I mean? So he got to keep his body up to par.
Were the Jerry comments hurtful yesterday?
I think, I just put it like this. I wouldn't say they were hurtful. I would just say that,
everyone has their.
We are going to take care, each other. I think overall, I want to take care of him in the same way I want to go out there and play for Jerry Jones. It's just how I feel like that's how we should look at each other. We're all here. There is no difference between us.
I like the camaraderie that I see, Cowboys Nation. But I left this video with 2 conclusions. 2 conclusions, Cowboys Nation, so let's talk about them. Y'all ready for this Raw and Uncut? Y'all ready? Let's get it. All right, Cowboys Nation. I'm kind of split when it comes to this situation. I completely get why Trevon Diggs went to Florida to get his rehab. Like I said earlier, I would have went somewhere else too, considering that the Dallas Cowboys grades for the training staff in the training room are the way they are. From my understanding, Trevon Diggs stuck with the Dallas Cowboys training staff for his first injury. That's when the narrative came around that Diggs wasn't taking his rehab seriously. I feel this is the reason why he felt that he had to document his progression so that he could prove that he was attacking his rehab the way he should be. I feel he went to Florida so that he could get an intense rehab, one that would all but guarantee his success, one that was focused on him and him only. I'm sorry, but a C and D grade wouldn't guarantee that, Cowboys Nation. But this, I feel, is the best way for Trevon Diggs to form a chip on his shoulder when it comes to this Dallas Cowboys organization. After doing them a solid and taking much less than what the market dictated in his first contract, I feel that the Cowboys front office is doing them a little dirty by dragging his name through the mud when it comes to this. The way Stephen Jones sounded is that Trevon Diggs is that defiant type of player, all because he didn't want to rely on the training staff that didn't do him right in the first damn place. But he wanted to make sure his rehab was successful and would last him through the rest of his career. Like a responsible player, he's taken that longevity of his rehab into consideration, but that did come with a consequence. A consequence that Diggs said surprised him, but a consequence that Stephen Jones said Diggs was fully aware of. So, not only did Diggs have to pay for the rehabilitation, but he also had to pay a second time for said rehabilitation, and that price was $500,000. Like he said, hopefully he can make that back in incentives. But let me address the second thing that I got from this interview. Micah Parsons is very outspoken when it comes to his teammates. That's a wonderful quality to have in a leader, and he has taken on that role to perfection. Maybe a little too perfect when it comes to an owner and his ego. You hear the way Micah Parsons was vouching for Trevon Diggs. He was out there going to bat for him. I believe that they go to bat for each other. But he was definitely going to bat when it came to this rehab issue and the contract situation. But I got this feeling, Cowboys Nation. I got this feeling that Micah Parsons could be looked at as an influential type of player that could create a rift between the players and the ownership. As if he could use his leadership role to have the players all on one accord, but that accord is not with the ownership. Some people say that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, in some cases, Cowboys Nation, the squeaky wheel gets replaced. But if Jerry and Stephen Jones start to think this way about Micah Parsons, they may in fact want to trade him to a different team for a small ransom, including future draft picks. Shoot, it could even get the Cowboys defense a defensive tackle worth talking about. I just hope they value his play a little bit more than their egos, but at the same time, Micah may need to pick his battles. You know what I'm saying, Cowboys Nation? He may need to pick his battles if he wants to remain a Dallas Cowboy. I understand that Trevon Diggs is the man's homie, that's his brother, and he's only looking out for his homie, but you gotta look out for yourself too, Micah. Don't fumble the bag trying to fight everybody's battles for them. Be there for your brothers as they fight their battles themselves. But how do you feel about it, Cowboys Nation? How do you feel about my little breakdown of the situation? Which side do you see yourself on? Diggs' side or Jerry's side? Let's go ahead and talk about it in the comment section, Cowboys Nation. I love to get your feedback. All right, Cowboys Nation, we are about to get into the topic that I really, truly want to talk about. I mean, I want to talk about all of the topics on the Angry Cowboys Fan Podcast, but this one takes the cake. This one is the one that gets me the most excited, Cowboys Nation. But Brian Schottenheimer is causing me to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm going to keep it $1.50. He is getting me to drink this Kool-Aid. I mean, every time this man speaks, he gives me hope for the season. He gives me confidence for this upcoming season as if I was about to go out there and play football my damn self. He does speak about every player in a glowing light, but that's what he's supposed to do. I don't expect him to come up to the podium and be like, yep, Deuce Vaughn, he's trash. But with each day of training camp that passes, the media always goes to Brian Schottenheimer for a report on the day. The most recent press conference, they spoke about the fight that broke out in practice yesterday. So I want to take a look at how Brian Schottenheimer handled the fight, and then we're going to listen to what Brian Schottenheimer had to say about the altercation. So let's go ahead and take a look at the fight clip.
You want to come out here and fucking fight? That's what you want to do? Fucking fight? Let's go. Get on the fucking sideline. Let's go fight. Let's fucking fight. Let's go. Fight.
All right, Cowboys Nation, you heard what he had to say to the team. Now let's take a look at what he had to say to the media in the 2 clips that I got for y'all. Let's go ahead and roll the first clip.
You look at the film, you know, you don't always see the first punch. You don't see all that thing. You don't see the stuff that maybe went on 20 plays before, but the mental discipline and the mental toughness to not let it get about just yourself and getting revenge and whatever that is the standard. And the standard is play on the edge, do the thing you're supposed to do. But at the end of the day, it's about winning. And because of that, you have to put the team first.
But I'm sorry, Cowboys Nation, but this was the best way to handle the team in that situation. You want to continue to fight amongst each other? Then you're going to be responsible for the entire team running. You couldn't have asked Brian Schottenheimer to handle that situation any better than he did. But let's jump to another clip from yesterday's press conference with Brian Schottenheimer, because I believe he has something very important to say in this next clip. Let's go ahead and roll the clip.
Some of the best teams I've been on, they have that discipline. They have the edge to be able to play a certain way, physical brand of football that we're going to play, where we're attacking and we're playing to the echo of the whistle. You know, I talk very openly with these guys. You know, I'm honest with them. I tell them how I feel. Am I always right? Nope. Sometimes I go and I'm saying, I ripped that guy's ass, and you know he didn't really deserve it. And then I take accountability for it. So we as a coaching staff, we're no different. If our energy's low out there, or we're not doing what we're supposed to do, and the drills aren't set up the right way, and you know, then I'll get on them as well. And we have to be better at times as well. It's not just the players.
If the coaches aren't doing it, the team is not doing it. I love that he addressed that, Cowboys Nation. You have to install that type of discipline when it comes to coaching players. Honestly, that's the type of coaching that I loved when I played football. It's all about accountability and holding these players accountable when they screw up. But y'all ready for this, Raw and Uncut? Y'all ready? Let's get it. This right here, Cowboys Nation, this is exactly what I want to see from Brian Schottenheimer. This is exactly what I feel this Dallas Cowboys team has been missing for decades. Someone to hold this team accountable when they screw up. Someone to hold them accountable when they do something wrong. A coach that will be their coach and not just their buddy or their best friend. This is where I feel the Dallas Cowboys went wrong with Jason Garrett as well as Mike McCarthy. I feel they were lenient when it came to holding these players accountable when they did something. What would happen if a player jumped off sides during a game with Mike McCarthy? What would happen if there was a fight in training camp with Mike McCarthy? You know, Cowboys Nation, I'm actually going to have to look back because I do remember fights with Mike McCarthy, but I just want to see how he handled it as opposed to Brian Schottenheimer handling it. But I remember when Brian Schottenheimer got hired to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. There were fans out there, talking heads out there, as well as content creators who were asking the question, will the players respect Brian Schottenheimer? There were some fans within the fan base who even went to the extremes of telling other Cowboys fans that none of the players respected Brian Schottenheimer, and the players were only at his first press conference because they were forced to be there. If this doesn't show you that those theories were a crock of shit, then I don't know what will, Cowboys Nation. It is super refreshing to see Brian Schottenheimer command this team the way he did during that scuffle. It can put those thoughts to rest because not one player took him as a joke after he told one of the players to, quote unquote, quit fucking laughing. That's the type of coaching I want to see for our Dallas Cowboys. That's the type of coaching that will call a player out if they see him cutting corners during practice. That's the type of coaching that I want to see if somebody jumps off sides during a game. That's the type of coaching that I want to see when there's a false start or a pass interference on the Dallas Cowboys side. A coach that will hold the players accountable and explain to them why they're being held accountable. But Cowboys Nation, I feel that this team will be in good hands when it comes to Brian Schottenheimer. But one thing that I fear when it comes to Cowboys Nation is that some will throw the baby out with the bathwater after about 2 years or so. They will be calling for this man's head if this team doesn't make an NFC championship game or a Super Bowl within the next 2 years. We could have a great run during the regular season, but if Schotty can't make it to the Super Bowl, it'll be screw that. We're not going to figure out what the real problem is. We got to get rid of Dak Prescott and Brian Schottenheimer. But I understand that we're just at training camp and Brian Schottenheimer hasn't called any of the regular season plays for the Dallas Cowboys. I just feel more at ease than I did the entire time Mike McCarthy was the Dallas Cowboys head coach, because everyone put him on the hot seat every year, so we never knew if Jerry was going to let him go or not. This is the first time in a long time that I've not had to worry about the mental capacity, what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to the coaching staff. They look like they're ready to go. They embody that spark that I've wanted all our coaches throughout history to have. Now I hope that Jerry and Steven will be able to give them the leeway to coach these players the way they need to be coached. This team can have all the talent in the world, Cowboys Nation, but if the ownership doesn't give the coaches the full ability to coach, then we may see the same type of results we are trying our damnedest to get away from. All right, Cowboys Nation, this is the end of the episode, and you know what we do at the end of the episode? We try to get to a couple comments from the comment section. The two comments that I'm getting at are from DCBIGOSO and Terminal VA. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into the first comment from Terminal VA. The comment reads, anybody who got mad at the cost of Dak's contract, you only have two people to blame, Steven and Jerry. Par for the course. Yo, listen, Terminal VA. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about when I jump on the tops of Jerry and Steven Jones. I know Steven has gone on record saying that he's the one that talks to these agents. He's the one that does the negotiation, while Jerry Jones is just the face of the Dallas Cowboys. Well, Steven, if you're responsible for getting these people signed, then let's get on the ball. I get it that you signed Jake Ferguson. I get it that you signed Kevontae Turpin, but you know what the major contract is that you got to get out of the way. The major contract that you got to get out of the way so you can get players like DaRon Bland and Tyler Smith signed. But I remember I went to an X space, an X space that we talk about football. We talk about the Dallas Cowboys. And I asked a question to your guy, Nix. I asked him, what if we got DaRon Bland, Jake Ferguson, and Tyler Smith signed instead of Micah Parsons? Would you be happy then and we get Micah Parsons settled next year, or do you want Micah Parsons now? And the overwhelming result from Cowboys Nation is hashtag 877 Pay Micah now. So Jerry and Steven Jones, if you ever watch the Angry Cowboys Fan YouTube channel, please listen to me now. Get Micah Parsons out of the way, because I believe if we're coming up next season, if he gets franchise tagged, it's going to be a set amount off the cap. If you sign him, you can knock all of that down and you can prorate some of his pay to different years down the road. You can kick the can down the road like you've always done for the past 30 years. Let's not act like it's a new thing that you're just getting into that you don't like, because you've done it for 30 years. So get it done now. Let's get Micah out of the way. And let's make sure that he is a Dallas Cowboy for the foreseeable future. But as far as the whole Dak contract is concerned, that's what I'm talking about. If they actually would have came out and gave Dak some respectable numbers before he went to Todd France, I believe that Dak Prescott would have got signed for an even lower number. But Jerry and Steven Jones likes to watch leaves fall, and that costs them money. Watching the foliage costs them money. Just like Trevon Diggs getting his rehabilitation out in Florida cost him money. You guys waiting on these contracts is going to cost you even more money. And if you wait on 1, CeeDee Lamb, you wait on 2, Dak Prescott, and now Micah Parsons, you would have had enough to sign Derrick Henry to the number that he was asking for. But because y'all dick around with the salary cap, this is what we're left with. But yo, I truly appreciate you, Terminal VA. Truly appreciate you for your comment. Truly appreciate you for your support and rocking with the channel. But most importantly, I thank you for being DC for life. See you again soon. All right, Cowboys Nation. Now we're going to go to the second comment. The second comment is from DCBIGOSO. The comment reads, I've told plenty of Cowboys fans that would listen. Winning that 5th Super Bowl was the worst thing to have happened to the Cowboys fan base. Reason being, now Jerry has it in his mind that it was all me the whole time. Not Jimmy Johnson, but Jerry Jones. Yo, listen, DCBIGOSO, I truly agree with what you're saying. Winning that 5th Super Bowl, winning it without Jimmy Johnson, made Jerry Jones' head swell. It made his head swell so big to where you can't tell him shit. You can't tell him nothing. He has all the answers. The way he does it is the best way, even though it hasn't garnered any type of success. Well, regular season success, but as far as postseason, it hasn't done that. And yes, you could put a little bit of the blame on the players and everything, but like I said, Cowboys Nation, it is 30% physical and 70% mental. But I don't give Jerry Jones any of the credit for winning that 5th Super Bowl. If you saw my other video, you know that I don't give Jerry or Steven any type of recognition when it comes to winning that Super Bowl, because they had the remnants of a Jimmy Johnson-led football team. They had all the players that Jimmy Johnson had before he left. So, of course, you could have probably put me in there to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and we could have won a Super Bowl. The only thing that we had to do was follow the formula from the year prior. Follow that formula, ground and pound. Have Emmett do what you drafted him to do, and you were going to win another Super Bowl. But since that time, it's all been going downhill, Cowboys Nation. And if Jerry and Stephen Jones hasn't figured that out by now, they're never going to figure it out. It's like you can't teach an old dog new tricks for some reason. But Jerry, you saw it last year. Our division rivals in the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders made it to a place that you haven't made, a place where the team hasn't made, a place where Cowboys Nation hasn't made in 3 decades. It's time to put our best foot forward, Cowboys Nation. It's time to make sure that we do what we do in order to be able to hoist that Lombardi trophy. Because at the end of the day, that is what's most important to the fan base. And at the end of the day, that's what's most important to these coaches as well as these players. The only people that we really question is Jerry and Stephen Jones. The only ones that we question as far as what's more important is our front office. But DCBIGOSO, I truly appreciate you for your comment, truly appreciate you for supporting the channel, but most importantly, I thank you for being DC for life. Now let's go ahead and get ready for this regular season so we can root on our Dallas Cowboys. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys fan. Cowboys Nation, what do y'all think about the Trevon Diggs versus Stephen Jones beef? Whose side are you on? How do y'all feel about Brian Schottenheimer's command over this Dallas Cowboys team? Y'all know how we do. We always talk about it in the comment section. If you're digging this content and want to help chip away at our current milestone of 20K, drop a like on this video and please consider sharing it with anybody that you know is a Dallas Cowboys fan. If you are DC for life and you're rocking with the Angry Cowboys Fan YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to be notified whenever I go live, release a video, podcast episode, film breakdown, or Madden 25 or College Football 26 gameplay. And on August 14th, it's gonna be Madden 26 gameplay. But I want to thank everybody who comes to this channel and participates in the chats, in the comment section. I thank you for being so respectful. But the thing is, if you have to ask the question, what's respectful mean? Then you may be in the wrong place. I thank everybody who has been down with this channel from day one and who has been active in the comment section, who can come in here and give their football knowledge and perspectives without disrespecting anybody else. Everyone who supports the Angry Cowboys fan brand, everybody who supports Cowboys content creators in general, I thank you. Aside from the team we root for, at the end of the day, we're all men and women. I will not have any disrespect in my comment section, point blank, period. If the hair on the back of your neck stands, or if you have to ask questions about that, you're on the wrong page, buddy. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys fan. Y'all have a wonderful weekend, and I believe we're going to go live. Y'all put a blue heart in the chat if you want me to, and I'm out. Dang, Angry Cowboys But if you want more content, you can definitely go to this video right here. Or if you want the latest episode of the Angry Cowboys Fan Podcast, you can go right here. But whatever you do, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, but remain DC for life.